Hi everyone, this is our Sunday short video about Matthew 19, 27 to 30. So I'm going to read from this passage and we will look into this and see what we can, how we can encourage ourselves to follow Jesus. So Matthew 19:27. Then Peter said in reply, "See, we have left everything and followed you. What then we will have?" Jesus said to them, "Truly, I say to you, in the new world, when the Son of Man will sit on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone who has left houses, or brothers, or sisters, or fathers, or mothers, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, will receive 100-fold and will inherit eternal life. But many who are first will be last, and the last first." So we're going to look into this passage. And at the beginning, we see Peter, who is very brave and very bold. And as usual, he's the one who is making the awkward question. So can you imagine the situation? Jesus is going with his disciples and Peter is asking, "Okay, we are with you for about 3 years, maybe 3.5, and what we will get from all of that." So Jesus is not treating this question as offensive question. He says, "Okay," politely to Peter. He says to him like, "Oh yeah, Peter, I prepared for you something really great." So you will be sitting on 12 with your friends. You will be sitting on 12 thrones, ruling and judging over Israel. And we cannot imagine how great honor for all Jews it would be, being king, sitting on the throne. It is great honor. It is to be in position, and suddenly hearing from the Messiah that you will be one of the 12 special rulers over Israel is great. Is wow. It's huge promise. But not also that. But Jesus says much more. He says like. And everyone who has left houses, or brothers, or sisters, or brothers, or mother, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, will receive 100-fold and will inherit eternal life. And for most of Christians, this part of eternal life is quite okay. Yeah, we receive power of eternal life now. We can feel it, we can sense it somehow, or we can have sort of healing or power of future in our lives. But also, eternal life is something which is in the future. So we have faith, but there is nothing to discourage us from this. But this other part about 100-fold in this time, like, okay, I left my house for Jesus. Where is my 100 houses? I left my car. Where is my 100 cars? I sort of expected a little bit different sort of reaction from God. You promised. So where is it? And obviously this causes some questions, and Christians are theologians are answering very different way on this question. And mainly we can see two answers. One answer is like sort of saying, yeah, Jesus really meant that when you give your house, physical house, he will bless you especially manifold in spirit, which is a little bit the case. We can agree for that, but it's not the full truth. So yes, God for sure will bless us spiritually, but it's not only, because Jesus quite clearly says about 100-fold, or like Greek language really says manifold. So okay, I gave one house, I won't have two. So some people are going into other sort of extreme, and they say, oh yeah, obviously we should treat this word very seriously. So if you left house, you should receive 2 houses if you or 100 houses, and you should have faith for this. And if you do not have faith, there is probably something wrong with your faith, because obviously Jesus did not lie. So maybe you gave up your car, so maybe you should now give your money, the best for me, and then Jesus will give you 100 times more, because obviously he promised this. And I think again, this is sort of extreme position, and I do not fully agree with that. I do not fully believe it's what Jesus meant. Especially, for example, like if you left wife, you will have 100 wives. If you left mother, you will have 100 mothers. How? It's sort of impossible. Maybe with 100 wives, yes, but not 100 mothers. So what Jesus meant through these words. So I believe the best what we can do, we can look into Bible and look into some example. So if we look, I want to look into case of Abraham, and we can read in 22nd chapter of book of Genesis a story when God really says to Abraham, you know what, I want you to make ultimate sacrifice. I want you to separate yourself from your son by his death. So you will take your son, you will go to Mountain Moriah, and then you will sacrifice him, kill him on the altar for me. So it is ultimate separation. It is something which you cannot fix. So if you gave up house for Jesus, or if you gave up wife or something for Jesus, there is a little bit hope I can sort of get it back. But when we gave up son on altar, when Abraham has to kill his son, there is no possibility to receive it back. Yet we can see Abraham, who is taking his son Isaac to the mountain. He's preparing everything, and at the last moment God is saying to him, no, I see your faith, stop it. And he provided animal to have this sacrifice fulfilled, and this animal is killed instead of Isaac. So what we can learn from this, how does it fit to the picture what Jesus says? One point which I said, Abraham has to, he must give up sort of on Isaac. He was ready to separate himself totally through the death. So he sort of, I will give up my love to Isaac because I love God more. So this is one part which matches this picture, and how God blessed Abraham. And I believe we can see both of these. We can see on one hand blessing spiritual and blessing material. So we can see that yes, Abraham immediately called this place God sees. God is seeing God. God provides. So Abraham understood God is not only demanding God, but God is the God who demands, but also he sees our faith, and sometimes he is giving back. He's giving back spiritually, and he is not blind God. He's not blind God who doesn't see your faith. He's God who sees heart, ready to go for him 100%, and then God is providing whatever is needed. And we see that God gave back gave back Isaac to Abraham. He returned Isaac back. Almost from the death, because Abraham was ready to kill his son. So we can see that God is giving back, but is giving stronger. And later there was never ever demand for Abraham to separate from Isaac. So we see that yes, God was blessing spiritually, but also physically. One, it was giving back Isaac. Another one, God fulfilled all the promises given to Abraham. So although Abraham haven't seen it, He haven't seen the thousands of his children, or like multitude of stars or sand on the beach. No, he haven't seen it all, but we know that God fulfilled his promise, because we are living now thousands years later, and we can see that it was great nation and nations from Abraham seed. Also, we know from Bible that Abraham has eternal life, which fits this passage too. God gave Abraham eternal life, and everyone who is believing in God is with Abraham. And Jesus says it in Gospel of Luke when we hear about rich and poor man going to the other side. So yes, God fulfilled for Abraham everything what Jesus promised in his short saying to us. And at the end, I want to say that from all of that, I see when we give back what we've got, however we love it, if it is broken, if it is good, but when we give it back to our giver, to giver of all, he's returning to us something which is much more needed. If it is spiritual or if it is material, he knows what to give us back. And through the faith, he is blessing us. So it's really, really good to believe in Jesus. It's really to trust him. And if he demands from you, if he say to you, give up this for me, don't worry. He will give you back something better. If it is spiritual, if it is material, he knows what would be the best for you. And sometimes it is spiritual, sometimes it is material. So yes, give back to giver, and he will return it to you transformed, redeemed, much better with his blessing.